Okay.
And 3, 2, give me a second. We're live.
Okay. Okay.
And 3.
All right, we're gonna call this Public Works Committee meeting to order. Roll call is Trustee Steve, I'm here. Trustee Brown.
Present.
Trustee Holmes.
Here.
All right, got the H's mixed up. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Trustee Brown, can you lead us in prayer, please?
Oh, Jesus. Father God, please bless this Public Works meeting tonight. And also for those who are out, please grant them traveling grace and mercy. In Jesus' name I ask, amen.
Amen. Thank you for that prayer, Trustee Brown.
You caught me off guard.
Only do it. Okay, we're gonna go to old business.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the update on the manpower. I know when the new administration came in, it was always a battle with the amount of manpower and did we meet or are we at our union number? So we got Stacy Corral here, the superintendent of public works. Can you update us on the manpower, the number where we're at and the number we want to get to or where we're at? Just let us know the manpower right now, because I know we were under before y'all came in. Now we're at and above.
Yes, so good evening, everyone, trustees, Village of Dolton residents. Before, in the beginning, we were down, I believe it was to 11 when we came in, and we are now at 25. Ideally, from looking at the operation over the last few months and finding weak points in the operation, I think 30 employees would be a comfortable number. You can have no less than 19, and you can have as much as you want or as much as your budget allows. So right now we're at like 25, I believe, if I'm not miscounting anyone, 25, and 30 would be ideal to service the community. Because if you break down the numbers, community of 25,000 or so people, that's about one employee per 10,000 people. I'm sorry, per 1,000 people. And I think 30 would be a good number so that everyone feels that they're being reached, you know, instead of us running around doing things here, maybe not completing this job because we had to go over here. You try to reach everybody in 8 hours, but sometimes it's just not possible.
Okay, so you say we're at 25 right now?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's not including that's everyone as a whole. So it's really more so about 19 maybe on the street, 19, 20. You know, you got to take out the clerks and stuff. So, you know, when you think about it, you hear the overall number, it sounds great, but then you got to think how many of them are actually physically doing work on the street.
Yeah, I guess how many laborers and how many, you know, the whole, can you just for the public and for us, break down?
Can we get a break? You need a breakdown, correct?
Other positions.
Right now, there are 7 CDL drivers, and the rest would be laborers and clerks.
Okay. I guess we got to look at but we talked at the last finance committee meeting. I know Trustee House is on here. We talked about we looked at the budget to actuals at the last finance committee meeting, and from I remember, I think we were at 67% of the budget used so far. But I could be wrong on that. But that's any questions from any other trustees on the manpower in public works?
I have one question, please. So if we got 7 CDL drivers, I mean, we have 12 other individuals if we're looking at the 19, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, if we hit that capacity of 30, we shouldn't have much overtime, correct?
No, that's the manpower is not the reason for overtime. So it's not like a police department where they have to fill in people, which creates overtime if there's not enough people. Ours is strictly emergency related. So anything after 3:30 is going to automatically be overtime.
Okay. Can you give me just about roughly how much overtime in the last month of December did we have? Can you give me that or not right now?
I don't have it in front of me. I can.
Right. That's why I said if you don't have it right now.
Yeah, I can provide it, but we've been between the water related issues, which is our main thing that we deal with.
So we say the water main breaks would be the
yes,
most?
Yes. We've had one almost every day for the last 14 days.
Okay.
So and most of the time they pop at uncomfortable hours. So it's never really while we're there.
Right.
When
Absolutely.
People get off work,
that
come
could
home
be
and
anytime.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question with that saying that we have the 14 so far. What would be the main cause you think?
The infrastructure in this community is beyond deteriorated. I mean, we dug up a water main on near 154 in Dorchester last week. There was like 15 clamps in one hole. So that means Public Works has been in that same area 15 times probably over the last 20 years. And that section should have been changed out, but we actually cut that section out this time. So we won't have to go there and keep tearing these people's yards up. But that's an example of infrastructure issues.
Okay.
Question I got. You got any more questions, Trustee Brown?
No. Thank you.
Any other trustees got any more questions?
I got one question. So as you speak about 5 additional, can you kind of talk to what services, not having those 5 people, how does that impact the community? What things may not be accessible? And what would we expect if we got those 5 additional people? Like what kind of a hole does that create by not having those 5 people?
Well, being short, in my eyes, that 5, it hinders the operation. So if I have a crew that's worked all day, they're at work 7 to 3:30, they get off work. Say if I take 5 of those employees and call them back in after 3:30 for an emergency, those same 5 people have to be back at work tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So, and let alone if we had 2 emergencies going on at one time. Say if we have a snowstorm and a water break. Those are the same people that fix your lights and everything else. They do all these services. We're able to put people on shifts, say it like that. We'll be able to say, okay, well, you can come in a little later since you stayed here all night, instead of having fatigued people on the clock doing things. Because tired people are not going to give you maximum, you're not going to get the maximum amount of work out of a person if they've been out all night. So it needs to be able to be rolled, if that makes any sense. We need to be able to roll people.
So
right now they're kind of hindered.
So the goal is ultimately to be able to have staggered shifts, meaning like a 7:30 to 3:30 and a 9:30 to 5:30. So
I wouldn't say staggered, but I want to be able to call on a different crew if it's an emergency. I don't want the ones that worked in emergency during the day to have to get called back in during the night and then have to come back. You want to separate them. So say for instance, we got a crew in there on the clock and half of the crew, they did regular services. They did locates and water shutoffs. They're not that tight. So you want to be able to lean on the ones that didn't do any hard labor for the day, but you can't do it when you're short of people. You know what I'm saying? So the same crew you've been beating up is the same crew you have to call when it's an emergency. And it shouldn't be that way. I compare it to the city of Lansing. Lansing has, I believe, 30 people, and their operation is able to rotate if need be. So I wouldn't say change the shifts. I just needed to rotate in emergency situations, like with the storm coming right now. It would really suck if they had to plow 8 to 12 hours and then something popped in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have a CDL driver on almost every scene.
How many CDL drivers do we have now?
7.
And now going into this big storm we about to have, what's the shifts right now? What is the plan going forward, going into this big storm?
Well, right now they're running 12-hour shifts until the storm is over and we have completed all of our duties. That kind of cuts down on overtime. It also keeps guys from getting burnt out. So the half of the crew did not have to come in today until 12 o'clock which gave them time to rest up and work the storm so that they're not fatigued while they're plowing. So we're going to do main streets first. We're going to do this in waves. We're going to do the main streets first, keep our mains open, and our emergency services like our police department, our fire department, keep them clear. And then we will move to the side blocks once the storm has subsided. And then we will come double back around again and apply salt. It makes no sense to apply salt during the storm. Some people have asked me why not do it during the storm, because we're only going to kick it back off the road. So it's actually a waste of material.
Okay. Hey, Trustee House, did you have another question? I think I cut you off.
But I was letting that slide because you're the chair, so I didn't even want to. No further questions from me, but thank you.
Further question? Okay.
I have one question. So would we say everybody is versatile, that they can do multiple jobs and not just a set crew for this or that or that?
I'm trying to cross-train. We're trying to work on cross-train. Everybody's not cross-trained. There's some gentlemen that have been there 15, 20 years. They never got on a piece of heavy equipment. So, and some people aren't comfortable with heavy equipment because it comes with responsibility and liability. So as far as they will go, I will go. So if they want to be trained on something specific, I'm all about cross-training so that we don't have to rely on specific people for specific things because that hinders us. But then again, there are some gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen who aren't comfortable with certain things. They've never been given that privilege to do so. But I do offer it to anybody who wants to learn anything new. You want to learn how to operate or fix anything, the door is open to that.
How many part-timers do we have?
We have 2 part-timers.
Okay.
Okay. Also the question, what can be done? Do we have enough manpower and enough skilled labor to cut down on using Calumet City plumbing?
Yes, we do. The thing is, in a neighborhood with this type of infrastructure, some of these repairs cannot be made by us. It has to be through a contractor. So anytime you see Calumet City as a bill, it's because we flat out couldn't do it. And it's not much that I can't do myself. So I'm pretty well-rounded with plumbing and water. So I try to teach that to the guys. But if we're using them, it's a reason, because I try not to use vendors.
You try not to use what?
I try not to use vendors.
Oh, okay. So you're saying if there's something, if Calumet City's plumbing is here, even though our numbers out, they're doing something that currently you're not able to do. Correct.
They might be putting in a valve or replacing a valve. It might be a water main that we don't have none of the equipment to repair because this stuff is ancient. Some of the stuff been in the ground since the late 1940s and 50s. We don't have those type of material to make those type of repairs, but a plumbing company of that capacity does.
Okay. Any other questions before I move on, Trustee?
One more thing. So what are they mainly repairing for us, Calumet City Plumbing? Is it water main breaks or what?
Mostly water valves. Every once in a while it's a break because it's a water main that we can't control. They have technology that most villages don't own. That's what made them the number one in the game almost, because they bought equipment that villages just don't buy.
So water valves. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Valves is our biggest issue. One of our biggest issues is water valves. The valves either seized up, broken, or where they were buried when a street was resurfaced.
So definitely when that other money comes in, we definally should be using it as for infrastructure.
We definitely do, because I'm gonna tell you the truth while I have everybody together. It's only getting worse.
Hold on.
Ed,
Oh, yeah, somebody.
tell them to mute, please.
Yeah, somebody. Okay, they're mute now.
Go ahead, Stacy.
Every year that it gets cold, the ground freezes and thaws. That's aging the main. That's how you age a water main. So every year it's getting worse. 6 years ago when I worked here, I see a difference in the water main breaks that we're having now. It's always been a lot in this neighborhood, but not to the magnitude to where somebody turns a sink on and it's just popping the main. I took out a few sections that we cut and I kept them, so I can show you all examples one day if anybody wants to stop by of what an aged water main looks like.
Okay, absolutely. I definitely would take you up on that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think you would like to see it. It's pretty cool.
And then thank you to the entire crew for that last snow. Awesome job. I seen it when I came out. So awesome job. Kudos to the Public Works Department.
They did. They rocked and rolled. It was very clean.
Yes, they did.
And they
Even
don't complain.
my street was clean, so kudos.
My street wasn't clean. No.
Well, mine was clean and salted. so
It's gonna be clean
kudos
this
to
time,
them.
trustee. I bet you
no,
that.
mine was good. Mine was good.
Thank you, though. Really appreciate it.
I'll make
got a
sure if they
question.
not
I got a
watching, I'll make
question.
sure they know.
Go ahead, trustee. Know what?
Just for clarification purposes, because I know we're about to run into a storm. Do we remove the snow from alleys, public works, or no?
That is very, very, very touchy. So
Okay.
of course, I don't like to turn people down. In this event of this storm, since there are a number of garages that face the alley, once we get through with streets and side blocks, if there's an alley that we feel that is accessible, we will attempt to run something down the middle of the alley. But that's not saying everybody's alley is going to get that service. Because some of
Exactly.
them are just so impassable that we're going to do nothing but either get stuck or damage the blade on the truck.
Gotcha. Now, one last question. For emergency purposes for residents, what number should they dial? I mean, I know it's storming, they have some issues. What is the emergency number for public works?
Let me get it out my phone for you. There is a dispatch number that was never given to the public. I don't know why, but it is 708 201 3240. And that's 708 201 3240. And that's a 24-hour dispatch. And what they do is you call them and they call me and I dish it out. It doesn't matter
Perfect.
what the hour is.
I'll share the news. Thank you. I like it.
No problem.
Any other questions before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So the next agenda item is update on the equipment in public works. I put this on the agenda because, many. Hold on. You know what? I'm still looking for William Moore supposed to be on here. Many people know that.
Hold on, Ed. Do you still get background? Don't you hear some background or no?
Somebody got some background going on.
Right.
Brittany, you got a TV back there? You right? You got a pretty TV on?
No, not
Joy, turn that
no,
down.
no.
Oh, that's Casey.
Maybe it's mine. Turn it.
I was gonna say I'm solo.
It's picking that up all across the room.
Yeah. So I was going into many know my history as far as I was a media director first, then I became a trustee. But I remember going through budget years and the things that we couldn't do because we quote unquote didn't have the money. But this year we were very aggressive what we approved for public works first and foremost. We got,
I appreciate it.
We got this thing. We put 10 police officers in this budget, put a new fire truck in this budget, and we put the front loader, dump trucks, and the sewage truck. So I want to just we did all that in one budget too.
Yeah.
Can you give us an update from the first? I think the biggest thing that we ordered first was that front loader. Just go from there all the way down to everything that we put in the budget that we ordered and where we're at with these orders.
So what was requested last year was a front end loader, which has been purchased and paid out.
Hold on. James, let Andrew Holmes in. He got kicked out. You hear me, James? James.
Yeah, I hear you. Hold on.
Go ahead, Stacey.
So the front end loader has been purchased. They have been paid. We have that at our disposal. We also purchased 2 riding lawnmowers. I think I'm missing one. We purchased 3 riding lawnmowers, and we also purchased a trailer to go along with them. We have those in-house now. We also purchased, or is going to purchase, the sewer jet truck, which is being built. It should be ready in about 2 months at the most. Because of the chip shortage is why we have not received it. We also ordered 2 dump trucks, and one of them have arrived. It came about 3 days ago. The other one is about 4 weeks out. So far as all the major purchases that were requested, everything was purchased that I requested other than the mini excavator. I moved some things around and I'm gonna come back to big this year.
So I know I talked to John. Y'all had 2 trucks go down, right?
We actually had more than 2 go down. We had about a week ago, we were down to just 2 trucks because they weren't receiving the proper maintenance in the past. And then they also don't get rolled far. Every once in a while, you have to drive them on the expressway and blow the system out like an emissions test. And that hasn't been getting done either. But now we're just down one truck. So the mechanics have been working very hard. They got everything up to par. And we're going to create a maintenance program going forward to where they're maintaining these vehicles on an annual basis. The problem was we did not have enough vehicles or enough trucks for them to take one off the road and fix it and not mess up the operation. But with the 2 additional trucks, we'll be able to give trucks a break and they'll be able to be serviced. It's the same thing like with the crew.
Okay. So going into this big snowstorm, we're only down one truck.
Only down one truck. And it's possible that it'll be back up in the morning, but it had to have an overhaul.
Okay. And then you say that the new sewage truck should be here. When did you say that again? When did you say new sewage truck?
They told me about 4 weeks. To not get my hopes up, I just said about 2 months because I don't see it happening in 4 weeks. But they said in about 4 weeks it might be ready.
Okay. Any questions, trustees, on the equipment in public work?
Just one thing, and it's just recommendation. Maybe we should schedule like a maintenance, like you would do your own vehicle. Schedule it for the fleet over there to make sure we don't run into any problems. Is there any way we can schedule like a monthly, maintenance or so many thousands of miles, to make sure we have the maintenance on those vehicles?
Well, that's normally how it was kept. That's how it was set up. It's just nobody ever enforced it. So it got out of hand somewhere. I don't point fingers. Somewhere down the line, it got away from them, but we're going to bring it back. And I am going to require that all the CDL drivers perform a pre-trip every morning before they leave out. And it will be documented and given to the foreman and the mechanic so that we know what went wrong, when it went wrong, and who was driving it when it went wrong. There was no checks and balances.
Even with the pre-trip, say that something goes wrong during the day. I know when I used to drive, if anything was wrong with my vehicle, there's a booklet I would fill out, say this happened during the day while I was driving, or that happened during the day while I was driving. I would fill out that form. It goes back in my truck. When they do the nightly check or the weekly check or whatever, they would see I had issues with that, maybe my windshield wiper blades or my brakes or whatever. So they knew that. And to make sure that was repaired, the mechanic would have to sign off with the date, and make sure that those things were repaired.
You are absolutely right. That's exactly how I'm trying to structure it. Because right now, there's no check and balance. It was just go, get it done. And what happened is it tore everything up. So this is machinery that's used every day, is beat up every day. It has to be looked over, even if it's glanced over every day. Because we spend outrageous numbers trying to keep that equipment up. When it could have been easily, the issue could have been found sooner. It might have been cheaper to fix. It's just like your personal car. You let things go on too long, something else is going to go wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with the pre-trip.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty strict on the pre-trip, especially with new stuff coming in. I refuse to let people tear it up on my watch.
Absolutely.
Not saying anybody wants to tear anything up, but you have to hold people.
But still, yeah. All right. Thanks.
Any other trustees have any questions?
I'd like to piggyback on the question, with the statement that you was talking about at first before I got knocked out. I'm in agreement with, we ought to be fully staffed. Reason being because the wear and tear on the employee's body and the health concern. If we got 2 or 3 go out, then, we're in a limbo there. So I agree with them, with fully staffed, because these water breaks, I've seen where there have been 4 water breaks in one day. And then you wind up working these individuals and they got to be back in the morning. If we catch another water break, it's the health concern of them. One of them gets sick, one of them get injured, and then we're stuck in a limbo. So I believe, they need to go home, they need to rest, and we need to have another staff to restart. So I got lost and kicked out. So that was my comment on that.
Okay. All right. Any other trustees before we move on? Okay. Also, next item on the agenda is the update on the parking lot repairs that we requested. You asked, can that be done? And we decided to take that, I think, the sewage fund. So what's the update on the parking lot that we approved?
So it would have possibly been done before it got cold, but it didn't get situated in time. So in the spring, our sewer jet should be here before the warm weather. We are going to replace our sewers and our water main leading out of the yard before the company comes to redo the parking lot. So it'll be a new drainage system and a new water main because we have issues with our main in our yard also every winter where it pops. It makes no sense to not fix everything under the ground before we lay all this nice stuff out. So they are waiting for us to make our repairs, and they will begin in the spring when we give them a date.
Okay. Okay.
Excuse me, Ed. Can
Go
you
ahead.
let trustee Norwood back in? She's been kicked out. Sorry about that, Stacy.
No, it's okay.
And once how long of a process is that?
More than likely 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Because we have to do that and still service the community.
Yeah.
So I give about 2 weeks. It doesn't take too long to change. I think it's like 4 sewers in the yard, 4 sewers and 1 main.
Okay. Okay.
And I if I'm not mistaken, me and John talked about, John and Mike, we're gonna add 2 more sewers on that backside to help combat the water that's going into the residential side of Park that faces our yard.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna add some along the back to catch that water because it's a low spot. Because when they come to pave it, they're graded, but they're not gonna grade it to a T. So sometimes you gotta help yourself. We're gonna add 2 catch basins back there since we're finna tear it all up anyway.
Okay. Any other discussion on that item? Okay. None. The next one is item D, follow up on discussion with removing signage that was not properly authorized on MLK. Trustee Belcher, can you add a little context to this?
Good evening, everyone. It was just, I had spoke to you in reference to it. We had a meeting. It was approved that we voted about the signs that have been illegally placed on Martin Luther King from 141st to 142nd Street. I was wondering the follow-up on when those signs will be removed because it's not a tow zone, because there's some tow zone signs up there. And also the parking that's on 142, I believe this is like the 15-minute parking. Do you know the status of when those will be taken down?
I actually do not. I received my orders from the mayor's office, and I have not received those orders as of yet to remove them.
Okay. That's the end. Any other questions? Any other trustees have any questions on that? We'd have to follow up with the mayor and the administration about the removal of these things.
Did we talk about that some time ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Public Works would be the one responsible for moving it, right? Or
Yeah, but they move off.
I know once they get the okay.
Yeah, they move off.
We had to get back with the mayor. That was months ago, so that should have been done. Okay, cool.
Anybody else?
I wish I had more information for you, but that's all of it in a nutshell.
So the next item is.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry, Trustee Steve. I just had a question.
Don't be interrupting me like that, Trustee. No.
I know, right? Because I was trying to hold my peace, and then I had to just sit back for a minute. I got a question. So most of the time you be on these meetings too, Mr. Corral, and I'm sure when it's spending money, we don't wait 2 and 3 months. So why is it so long if the board is approving something that these items take 2 and 3 months to get accomplished?
Again, without the directive, I can't take it upon myself to do so.
Okay. So when you get the approval for spending money, do you go back to the mayor to say, I can do it, or do you just order the stuff?
It's the same thing. Everything goes through the mayor.
Okay. All right. Great answer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to the last item. And unfortunately, I told William Moore about this meeting last week, and he is not on. There's a lot of changes, a lot of things going on in the water department. We wanted the manager to come on and answer some questions from the board and from the public, but he's not on getting on. I've been texting the village administrator, so he's not on here. We can, if anybody can express any concerns right now they have for the water department, I know my concern has been I know trustees asked about the amnesty program, and
The
then
last two meetings,
yeah,
last two meetings and no numbers.
yeah, and my concern has been the average has went up. So I mean, the way they base, if you don't get an accurate water, if you don't turn your accurate water bill reading in, then you may not get you get an average. But how they get that average together, I think that has changed, because my bill has went up at least $100. You know what I mean? So that's the one question I had. As I'm disappointed that he's not on here, because we're understanding there's some changes going on in the water department. Maybe a new manager coming in, they're switching something. We don't know nothing. So I want him on here, but he's not on here. So we have to ask him next village board meeting what's going on. Any other concerns that the trustees may have had about the water department?
Trustee Steve.
Go ahead.
Well, I would have, for Mr. Moore, when we do reach him, I guess I just want to know what's our plan in regards to the estimated water bill reading. So I tell residents to just take the yellow card to kind of try to help us out, because I know everyone has been calling me complaining about the estimate water bill. So I tell the residents to go inside the water department to obtain the yellow card, and I tell them just put the number on the card and submit it that way. That way it's not an estimate. But I just wanted him to confirm that that is an appropriate way to get an actual reading.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, to piggyback off Trustee Nora, I'm sure that's going to be the best way to get an accurate reading. Again, we don't have enough manpower. So that is the number one. 4 people with all this area cannot be. So until we get these digital meters, you're not. So the best thing, like you said, Trustee Norwood, is to tell each resident to get that yellow card, do your reading and turn it in. Other than that, you don't have the manpower. It's impossible for 4 people to cover this area. It's impossible. So the best bet is to get your cards, do your readings and turn them in until we're able to get these digital meters.
Makes sense. Do we have a time period on the digital meters? Do anyone knows about how long it'll be before?
No, I know from my understanding, anybody else can chime in if they want to. From my understanding, it's still getting the money for the initial install. So I think it's about $4 million that we have to get to do the install of the new meters. Any other trustee can chime in if y'all want to, but that's what from my understanding, it's still working on getting that initial cash to get that stuff, the initial money to get that going.
So you said it was a total of 4 million?
I think it was 4 million. Don't quote me on it. I think it was 4 million. I don't know. Remember Andrew Holmes and Tammy, remember we first got in, we went to Springfield. I think we were all in that training about that.
Mm-hmm.
The EPA loans and stuff like that to get that money to actually make that initial investment.
Okay.
So any trustee Holmes or trustee House, trustee Belcher, anybody else know anything as far as the official amount that's needed to get that process started and where we're at in that process? Anybody?
Not offhand, but just request a meeting with the board of trustees, board of department heads. That way we can get an accurate answer and account of what's going on.
Okay. All right. So that is my last item. I wanted to have this meeting so people can be aware of the public works going on in public works. We definitely this board have passed some aggressive things to improve public works. And then, just trying to hear what's the plan, because we're about to get hit with a lot of snow. I hope people got your food and got everything, just in case, you never know nowadays.
You never know.
Never know, just in case that you got to be buried in for some time, and you don't want to be the last one at the store trying to get water and food and you ain't got nothing to eat at the house. So, you know what I mean? You got to be prepared in the time, and today's the times. So if there's no more any discussion, any input for anybody else, any other trustee before we go to public comment?
Trustee Steve,
Yes.
I just have one thing to say. So from the past, no, I would just like to tell all the residents, if they can, if they have a elderly neighbor, during this time of snow, if you all are out shoveling your snow, you can just hit their driveway, or if you can just assist them just a little bit, that would be greatly appreciated, for our seniors at least, residents, help thy neighbor. The Bible says, honor thy neighbor. So if we could do that, that would be great. That's it for me, Trustee Steve.
Oh, Trustee Norwood over here preaching. She quoting the Bible. Go ahead. Hey, I know Trustee Holmes gets out there. I know Trustee House gets out there to help residents and stuff like that. And this is my first year, and this is crazy. This is my first year having a snowblower. So I can't believe I took this long to get one, because I've been out shoveling. But if everybody has a social media page, anything like that. So if you have some elderly people or some seniors in your block and stuff like that need some shovel, get in touch with one of the trustees here, because we all get we get out there to try to help. I know Trustee Holmes, Trustee House does. So please do that. We're gonna move to public comment.
And also, Ed, may I be recognized?
Oh yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
I don't for the residents forget they can also call the village.
Yeah.
And there's some help.
Yeah. What's that number? Just isn't there a program that the mayor has that she's doing seniors homes?
Yeah, they have it online. I have it in my office, but they have it online.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on to public comment. There's a few questions. Why was public?
I actually, Trustee Ed, if I can be recognized, I found that number.
Okay.
And that number is 877-336-1269. 877-336-1269. And that is for seniors only.
Chuck.
Okay, I have the citizens address. There's nothing on the agenda. So that's all we have for tonight.
No, could you ask? We can ask some questions.
We can add.
Yeah.
You guys can answer that one?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
if there's no answer to it, there's no
Okay.
answer.
Why was the public works and Posen working several days ago?
Okay, we can move on to the next one.
It doesn't say citizen address. So
yeah, water bill. That's just a statement.
it's statements.
right.
That's all we have for tonight.
So can I get a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
Second.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Trustee Holmes, second by Trustee Brown. Roll call. Aye.
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 All right. Thank you so much, Trustee. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all. Please be safe.
All right,
bear
stay
with
You
us.
too. Thank you.
Have a good night.
night,
Stay
everybody.
safe, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.